strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, there you go. We are starting off with another lovely edition of the Rated R Safety Show. Anyways, how are you doing on this fabulous Tuesday? It is Tuesday, February the 7th of 2023, day 38th of the year, and only 327 days to go. Yeah, the countdown continues as the way that it looks. Anyways, how are things inside of your neck of the woods? Because I think it's going to be important for us to talk about that. The things that happen on your end are way more exciting than the things that happened on this end. That is for sure. So, a lot of stuff going on today, but so that you know, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, we are hanging out with our friends at Radio Big, so there you go, some stuff going on right there as we are talking. So let's talk about it. What are we going to do today? Anything different? Anything not so different? Oh, I probably should talk about this before I forget. So, if you want to, let's talk about this portion, and we'll talk about it, then I'll try to get my brain straightened, and then go from there. We are a show that talks about safety in the news and safety, so I just want to make sure that we are clear on that particular regards. And then also, with that being said, as we do talk about safety in the news, we do bring in some professional broadcasters and let them talk about what is going on inside of the world. So that's how it works. If you want to interact with the show, it's easy process to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. So let me share this with you. This right here, if you are on the video aspect of what we have going on, we are officially sold out of the Safety Differently workshop that is going to Santa Fe, New Mexico. About a month out, but we are totally gonzo. Yep, it is gone. There is no more tickets. There is no list. There is no secret club. There is nothing in regards of getting you in. You would be amazed on the amount of people that I've had contact me in regards of, hey, you can still get me through. I mean, I would love to believe that there is some aspect that I have some kind of magic way of creating space inside of an event that doesn't have any space. I really do appreciate all the people that were interested in going, but I have no more tickets. I have nothing to give. So here's what I'm going to do. You will be the first ones to know when the next one comes about. There is no doubt about it, okay? I normally try to share everything here immediately. I will tell you, be on the lookout a lot sooner than later in regards of talking about this next event. I'm just going to tell you that's the way that we're going to do it. And then we'll see what we can do from the radio station standpoint on the mix of what we can do. And then we'll see what kind of mix we can do next time and see if we can sprinkle across. But I don't know what to tell you. We started advertising this thing in November, or at least I did here. Started talking about it in November, and then it got hotty, and then boom, we're gone. So I appreciate it. I really do. I really, really am appreciative of this. I will attend to work with the man to make sure that it doesn't take 4 years for the next one. I am pretty sure, based on the conversation yesterday, that you're going to get a level of an announcement, a form of announcement relatively quick. I'll even tell you to hold the date. Mark your calendars. And I normally know when we're going to put the tickets on sale, so I can let you know these things. So there you go. Some stuff going on right there. So very appreciative of all that going on. I just want you to know I have no hidden tickets. I have no magic list or anything along those lines. So I really do appreciate it. Anyways, with that being said, our show does focus on safety in the news and safety. So don't worry about that. I will take care of both ends as we are doing it. So that is kind of the cool thing that we do here. So let me tell you the portion of the interaction as we already discussed. You interact, we kind of start leaning more and more that way of whatever you're talking about because that's important. And that's the way that it goes. We talk about all the stuff that we talk about on this show because we want to make sure that you have something topical to talk about when you are talking with your teens, with your members, all that kind of fun stuff. So keep that in mind as we are talking, and that's the way that it will go. Anyways, with that information being said, I think that it is time for me to tell you what exactly we'll be talking about today, because that's going to probably be a little bit important, because wouldn't you want to know?
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, some discussions we're going to see from the hit list and what was going on. Earthquakes, fires, and new pricing schemes for moviegoers. We'll talk a little bit about that on the top of the list when we come back. And then what has the president told us that might have been a lie? We can have some discussion of Tom Brady's Fox Sports gigs. It starts next year. And Ben Affleck gets memed. We can talk about that. Avatar: Way of the Water is now the third highest grossing film internationally. We can talk a little bit more about that if you would like. And we'll discuss what was going on in Turkey. We'll give you a main story and everything along those lines. With that being said, it's time to bring in the professional broadcasters and let them do what they do, because those portions are always important. So here's the news.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. There will be 7 days of national mourning following devastating earthquakes in Turkey. That declaration came from Turkey's president. He says the first earthquake, a magnitude 7.8, was the largest disaster seen in his nation in more than 80 years. More than 4,300 people are confirmed dead there and in neighboring Syria. President Biden plans to highlight his economic successes when he delivers his State of the Union address tonight.
We have seen this historic burst in people creating new businesses is not only a source of hope, but a huge source of potential dynamism for our economy.
White House economic advisor Brian Deese says Biden will make a clear contrast between his approach and what's called trickle-down economics. Deese added the president will emphasize inflation has dropped for 6 months in a row, but more progress needs to be made. He said Americans are just beginning to see the positive impacts of Biden's policies. This comes as a new poll shows that most Americans don't believe Biden has accomplished much since taking office. The Washington Post ABC News poll found 62% of Americans believe that Biden has accomplished not very much or little or nothing during his first 2 years as president. Abortion may still be a constitutional right despite the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade last summer. Brian Shook explains.
A Washington, D.C. judge said the 13th Amendment may include reproductive rights. She said the Supreme Court's ruling only concluded that the 14th Amendment didn't have a right to abortion. Roe v. Wade was the decades-old decision which legalized abortion nationwide. I'm Brian Shook.
And there's a push to stop Kroger's from buying Albertsons for $25 billion. The lawsuit filed in California on behalf of 25 consumers in Texas and Florida says the merger will increase prices for groceries, decrease quality of food, and close stores. Kroger is the biggest grocer in the U.S. by revenue, and Albertsons is the second largest supermarket chain. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. More than 5,000 people are now known to have died in Turkey and Syria after Monday's earthquake and aftershock. Oil firm BP's reported the biggest annual profits in its history. The US says it's closely watching events in North Korea ahead of a large-scale military parade in Pyongyang on Wednesday. And the US also says it's trying to figure out how much senior Chinese leaders knew about a balloon allegedly spying in American airspace.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
The White House says the flying of a suspected Chinese spy balloon over the U.S. is unacceptable.
What China did was unacceptable. We protected civilians, and we gained more intel while protecting our own sensitive information.
Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says China's irresponsible actions were visible for Americans and the world to see. She said the Biden administration will continue to keep open lines of communication with China, and it's up to that country as to what kind of relationship it wants to have with the U.S. The U.S. military is currently recovering debris from the balloon that was shot down off the coast of South Carolina this weekend. A former volunteer says New York Congressman George Santos sexually harassed him and violated ethics codes. In the latest allegations to surface against the embattled Republican, Derek Myers tweeted that he filed a police report over Santos' sexual overtures and workplace hiring practice. According to Myers, he was offered a job last month and told he would remain a volunteer until the paperwork was complete. After rebuffing an alleged advance, he says he was interviewed again by Santos staff and told days later that the job offer had been rescinded. The FBI is expected to search the home of former Vice President Pence in Indiana for classified documents. Lisa Taylor has more.
The search will take place in a matter of days, according to NBC News. This comes after Pence's attorneys recently disclosed several documents with classified markings were found at his home and turned them over to authorities. Attorneys said the documents were inadvertently packed up and transported to the home. The Justice Department is also currently investigating President Biden and former President Trump's handling of classified material. The FBI searched Biden's house in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, last week. I'm Lisa Taylor.
And the judge in Alex Murdaugh's double murder trial in South Carolina is allowing alleged financial crimes to be admitted into evidence. That means the jury will hear about the financial misdeeds that Murdaugh is accused of and how this may have been connected to the murders of his wife and son. Murdaugh is accused of shooting the two in June of 2021. His defense team objected to Monday's ruling. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Well, you might be like me and heard all these terms and were not 100% sure on what they meant. Things as mining, blockchain, the Internet of Things. Well, I will tell you, we here at Safety FM have partnered up with a company that will explain this to you and will also have conversations to inform you on how you might have the potential of making passive income by being involved with this. All you need to do is go to safetyfm.com/iHub. They'll discuss blockchain. What exactly is mining? What is cryptocurrency? And what is the Internet of Things? To find out more information, go to safetyfm.com/iHub. That's safetyfm.com/iHub. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
What is dedication?
I am the father of a 9-year-old little girl and a 6-year-old little boy. And I find fatherhood both relentlessly challenging and relentlessly rewarding. My daughter is biological and my son is adopted. I love them both so much. From the morning when you wake up to putting them to bed at night and every moment in between, it really is so special. And boy, is it exhausting. One thing that I fear about being a parent is the future for my children. I think a parent's job is to protect our children, but also prepare them for the world so they become good, kind human beings. But I'm also hopeful that the future holds a more inclusive and compassionate world for them.
That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You can say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You can ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You can ask on your couch while you binge watch. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
It's my kind of music. I get the best mix of my favorite music. All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so there you go. And you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show here on Safety FM and Radio Big. It is currently 17 minutes past the top of the hour, so let's start talking right away about what the hell's going on the top of the shit list, because that is going to be part of the reason on why we're doing the stuff that we're doing. Anyways, apparently Sam Smith did manage to open the gates of hell with his Grammy performance on Sunday. What? Did I? So here you go. Take a listen to this. In Turkey, the strongest in a series of earthquakes in Turkey's registered as far away as Greenland early Monday morning local time. The first registered at 7.8 magnitude, followed by hours later by a 7.5 quake in the eastern part of the country. So there you go. That all went down on Monday. It is being said that more than 3,800 people have been confirmed dead and nearly 15,000 injured in the aftermath. I mean, just think about that. We talked about it during COVID in regards of imagine how much one person impacts people's life. Now put that at 3,800. It's just mind-boggling taking a listen to what the heck is going on over there in Turkey. There is no other way to put it. Talking about these things, listen to this. In Buffalo, there was a 3.8 quake hit Buffalo early Monday morning, making it the strongest on record in the last 40 years. In Chicago, a fire at a warehouse for a furniture company broke out in Chicago Heights, Illinois, Monday morning, requiring 5 crews to put it out. No injuries have been reported. In Ohio, a train carrying toxic chemicals derailed near East Palestine, Ohio on Monday, requiring a special team to perform controlled burn of any toxin that managed to leak out. In particular, liquid vinyl chloride was burned off by diverting it into a trench and then burning it off with flares. Residents around the site of the crash were ordered to leave by the governor, Mike DeWine, out of the abundance of caution. Officials are still scrambling to determine the extent of any toxic fumes that could cause injury. I mean, think about what I just told you there. Think about all the little places that I just said something was going down in that short of a period of time. So we're talking Turkey, we're talking Buffalo, we're talking Ohio, and we're talking Chicago. I mean, wow. I mean, I don't know. I sometimes get to sit back and talk about some of these things with you, and I just look at it and go, what in the hell is going on over there? Like, seriously. So let's talk about some market stuff, because it is interesting seeing what is going on with the world and the market to some extent, just to reference it. So take a listen to this as I'm going to talk about it. Bed Bath & Beyond might not be dead yet. The company announced on Monday that it is looking to raise more than $1 billion in equity sale. The company brass reported that last week it does not have an available cash to pay the debt note that it's owed to J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan. Now, here's where I get all kinds of, interesting thing. You have these large banks that are out there that are telling you at some point, this is not a good idea. Why would somebody else invest in that? I mean, I understand the gamble if you have the money to throw around, but isn't everything like algorithm based and all this weird stuff that people are trying to do now? opposed to it just going, okay, we're going to run with it. So there you go. Anyways, computer manufacturer Dell is laying off 6,650 people amid a sharp decrease in demand of personal computers. The company reported it saw a 37% decrease in sales during the fourth quarter of 2022. The headcount reduction is expected to save about $1 billion over the next year. I always wonder when you hear stuff like that, if the company was owner-operated. Yeah, I said employee owner-operated, not CEO, not board members. I wonder how that would look. Do you think they would cut that many people, or how would they go about trying to make sure that the community is still doing better? Just asking the question, of course. Anyways, take a listen to this. Archaeologists have uncovered that they believe they could be the oldest oldest man's weapon ever found in North America. It's the 13,900 bone tip fragment was likely part of a spear of a stab Macedon. And it was largely a rib cage of a Macedon remains. Other bone fragments suggest that it was a speared Macedon and that had been eaten by another Macedon. And to really make the Macedon conception, the fragment itself is apparently made of bones of a Macedon. So, wow. I don't think I've ever used that word so much in my life in such a short period of time, or ever in combination, if you're really thinking about it.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
So take a listen to this. As movie theaters recover from the pandemic restriction, AMC is making a big change, charging premium pricing for premium seats. Take a listen to this. The movie theater attendance has dwindled in the recent years, and theaters have begun upgrading to extra-wide reclining seats, stadium seating as a pretty standard fare, and jacking up the admission price. Even more recently, seats have become assigned when purchased online, but they mostly all have been the same price. Well, take a listen to this. Now AMC has 3 tiers effective this Friday in 3 markets. It is called the Initiative, Sightline, Value, and Standard, and Preferred. Most seats will be standard. Preferred will be good ones in the middle center, and the value seats will be the disability compliant seats that are in the very front. The company hopes to roll out the program nationwide by the end of the year. Now, listen, I don't know about you. I used to love going to the movie theater. I'm not going to lie here. When I lived next door to Disney, because that's the way that it really worked, I used to go to the movies all the time because I was right there next to one of the probably fanciest AMCs that I had seen at the moment. But now the tickets are going to be tier price and all this. I don't know if I care so much to go to a movie theater, because I'm going to start thinking about this. Well, if you start laying out the foundation of what a movie theater feeling would be inside of a house, if you have the room, of course, is it cost effective to do all of this? I don't know. That's the stuff that I think about all the time. So I have no clue. Anyways, let's talk about this real quick. Let's talk about the charts, because it is Tuesday, about what the hell's going on inside of the music scene. So going from the Apple side of the house, coming in at number 5 was Morgan Wallen with Last Night. And number 4 was Nicki Minaj with Roman Holiday. At number 3 was Harry Styles with As It Was. At number 2 was Bonnie Raitt with Just Like That. And at the number 1 part, number 1 song for under iTunes was Miley Cyrus, Flowers. So there you go. Going to the side of the house of Spotify, looking at the top 5, it goes something like this. Metro Booming, The Weeknd, and 21 Savage with Creeping was at number 5. At number 4 was Sam Smith and Kim Petras with Unholy. At number 3 was Shakira and Bizrap with the Shakira Bizrap Music Sessions Volume 53. Volume 53. Wow. And then at number 2 was Za with Kill Bill. And at the number 1 spot, just like on iTunes, Miley Cyrus with Flowers on that end as well. So, there you go. Some stuff going on right there. So, I'm taking a look around, and it looks like our good old Palio Pally here is not available today. It is okay. Those things do happen. So, it looks like we will be getting no Johnny Smalls for the market stuff, but that's okay. Still going to take care of you in that particular regards, because listen to the things that happen. So we're going to do something slightly different. We're going to bring in Joe McConnell here, and he's going to tell you about what the hell is going on inside of the world of biz. Do we want to do this? the world of business. Yeah, let's do that. Hang on real quick.
You've won a prize. You owe a debt. Your family member is facing an emergency. Just some of the pitches scammers use to try to get your money. And the Federal Trade Commission is on a public awareness campaign in hopes of at least slowing them down, if not stopping them. The FTC's Elizabeth Kwok says last year's top swindle was the imposter scam.
The types of frauds where somebody will reach out to you and pretend to be a legitimate business or government agency. We're about to head into tax season. So, a common one we see every year is the IRS imposter scam where, they reach out, try to tell you, hey, you have a massive refund, but you have to pay me a certain amount of money just to hold it so that I can get you your refund back. And then you'll also get the deposit back as well.
And you actually get zero back. So how to protect yourself? First, Kwok says always have your guard up when you get social media messages.
It's that stranger ping on Skype or, a message to your Facebook Messenger that you weren't not from somebody and that you were not expecting to get. And then the second step is to always verify who it is you're talking to.
In 2021, the last full year tallied almost 60 million Americans fell for some kind of scam, with losses totaling almost $30 billion. The AMC movie theater chain intends to price its seats almost the way airlines price theirs, by location. At some of its 950 theaters and eventually all, it's offering 3 tiers of seating, value, standard, and preferred, depending on location. Those in the very front rows will be the cheapest, although the price variations haven't been announced. And if you consider Cracker Barrel romantic, the restaurant chain is offering a chance to win free food for popping the question at one of its outlets around Valentine's Day. Only 5 winners will be chosen among those who make the proposal on video between February 10th and 16th and posted on Cracker Barrel's Instagram page with the hashtag #ISaidYes at Cracker Barrel. Consumer and Business News, Joe McConnell, NBC News Radio.
Okay, thank you, Joe McConnell. Let's get into some meat and potato stuff because I think that's what we need to do. The Dow lost about 35 points to close at 33,891, and the S&P lost about 25 points to close at 4,111, while the NASDAQ lost about 119 points to close at 11,887. West Texas Intermediate closed at $74 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $81 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas was $3.47. Bitcoin was mostly flat on Monday, trading just at $22,830, right around there. There were about, 2,460 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Monday, and about only 105 cancellations. When you say 105 cancellations only, supposedly it's not supposed to sound bad, but let's see. I think that would be a thing that we would go, well, it's still terrible. You know how many people are in per plane, so there you go. Think about it. Anyways, let's see. Tonight, Mega Million drawings will be for a $31 million jackpot or a $16.6 million cash payout. So there where you go on what is going on there. So taking a look around at some things that are happening inside of the world, let's take a look at this. We're going to see what is going on when Tuesday is considered today is considered National Black HIV/AIDS Awareness Day. The statistics tell us an alarming story. Take a listen to this.
CDC says while blacks and African Americans make up only 13% of the U.S. population, they account for 40% of those with HIV.
We estimate 250,000 people know they have HIV in this country and are not seeking regular medical care.
Dr. Laura Cheever, AIDS expert at the Health Resources and Services Administration, cites stigma and fear as major factors. I'm Trey Thomas.
Okay, thank you, Trey Thomas, for the information right there, having that discussion because it is important to know. Take a listen to this. Construction is set to begin at the new $100 million Regal Mile studio in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood. Mayor Lightfoot joined the city community and business leaders for the groundbreaking ceremony yesterday.
Now expanding our capacity to produce high-quality, authentic screen entertainment that captures the world's attention while simultaneously providing opportunities for Chicago residents.
Okay, the Regal Studio, or the Regal Mile Studio, will have 5 sound stages, a gym, cafeteria, a recreation place, and it is expected to open next year's official hope that the studios will make Chicago the Hollywood of the Midwest. Why wouldn't Chicago just want to be Chicago? I mean, I don't know. Just asking the question. Don't get mad at me. Anyways, take a listen to this one real quick. Illinois is launching a $40 million grant program to develop mega sites in the state. Governor Pritzker says that the Illinois is hoping to be home of some of the most investment-ready sites.
Mega Sites Investment Program grants will help communities innovate their own business attraction efforts and will spur economic development in communities across our great state.
Okay, the mega sites are large development sites ready for occupancy for manufacturers, distribution centers, and industrial centers, and more. The grant program is open to government, private businesses, nonprofits that support site development in order to attract large-scale industrial investments in underutilized areas and formal industrial sites. So there you go, making all kinds of interesting stuff. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott has announced more than $14 million in their funds from the American Rescue Plan Act to support the Clean Corpse program. The mayor says that the initiative, 6 community-based organizations will be taking part of it.
This is a part of a solution. These folks, these community groups are stepping up to do the work here.
The organization will hire and train local residents at the rate of $15 per hour to clean and maintain vacant lots, alleys, remove street debris, and empty public trash cans in select communities. The mayor says the Clean Corpse expands the city capacity to maintain neighborhoods and addresses bright spaces while providing meaningful employment for residents, not unemployment. The Clean Corpse program will run through January of 2025.
We are so happy and proud to partner with them because the only way that Baltimore is going to be the best version of itself is if we all come together.
I agree. That's the way that it has to work. So there you go. Anyways, it is currently 33 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's go ahead and do that. The thing that we do right around now, because it's going to be important to do it. It is really going to be important if I press the button.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's discuss the reasons human organizational performance helps with this matter. So, I mean, we have to talk about how the world needs to change. We need to talk about how the world that we live in is sometimes one of the most interesting things that we get to do. And we need to talk about why your voice matters when it comes to things related to safety. I think we have gotten to the point that we don't discuss these things, and it's almost like welcome to the world of tomorrow, where the voices of the employees matters more than ever because we tend to forget to talk about this. And it's like, hey, you need to look at some things here as we're talking today, because I think that we tend to forget that how important you are in regards of what is happening with your organization. Sometimes I look at this show and I think about it as we are the source of safety, brought to you by a dash of humor and a pinch of sarcasm. And sometimes we need to talk about some different matters, and I bring in all of these things. And sometimes I know it comes across sarcastic. Sometimes it comes across as things that might be important. Sometimes it comes across as it has nothing to do with any subject matter on the planet. And that's always been the gig. But I want you to sit back today and imagine a world where your employees are just puppets. Think about it. Following the orders without saying what things they think are important on their own about safety. It sounds like a dystopian nightmare when you really start thinking about it. But for many organizations, this is the harsh reality on how things work. Hold on, don't hit the snooze button yet, because I know that there's more information that I want to share with you, and I don't know where you're located right now, so I want to make sure that we continue talking. Because today we're going to explore how your voice matters, how things need to improve in your organization when it comes to safety performance. I want you to think about this concept because we talk about it here, and sometimes we don't take a deep enough dive, but I want you to think about the concept of human and organizational performance, also known as HOP. HOP recognizes that employees are just more than mere cogs in machines. And it seems that at times that's what people want. They just want the wheel to flow and it to be very robotic. But valuable contribution to an organization's success normally comes from the employees. By including your employees' voices, your team members' voices, in decision-making process related to safety, organizations can tap into a wealth of knowledge and experience leading to improved safety performance. And if you really think about it, it can lead to all kinds of real performances changes across the board. And let's be real, your boss can have a PhD in safety. I mean, from whatever, snafu, college, university, whatever. But you've got the on-the-job experience, which is totally different. So why not leverage that experience to make your workplace safer? After all, you're the only one that's going to be affected by the decisions that the people make inside of the C-suite. And don't get me started on those annual safety surveys that no one takes seriously anyways. Your voice matters, and it's about how you use it. I think we tend to forget that. So don't be a passive puppet in your organization. Speak up and share your thoughts and the ideas that you have to make your voice heard. And if your boss still isn't listening, well, at least you tried. Isn't that what most people are supposed to say? But not really. Push harder and find the world that you want. So remember that your voice matters, and so that your workplace can become safer because of those things. And what I want you to think about is that if you kind of had to give it a bottom line and you had to give a 10-point approach to this, maybe this is the layout of the land. Educate team members, inform the team members about the importance of their voice in safety matters and how it can positively impact the organization. Number 2, encourage open communication, because I think that that's such an important aspect that we normally don't talk about. Create an open and supportive environment where employees feel comfortable expressing their thoughts and ideas. And I know somebody's going to say, hey, well, this is kind of common knowledge, this one here, but create a safety committee. Form a safety committee made up of team members from various departments to provide a platform for them to voice their concerns and suggestions. Because sometimes we tend to forget on how important that is for people to actually do. What else? Provide feedback, encourage employees' involvement by providing feedback and their suggestions, incorporating them into a safety process where appropriate. Foster a culture of safety. Foster a culture of safety by encouraging employees to take ownership of their own safety and their own safety with their colleagues. Recognize and reward good behaviors. And I'm not talking about giving out the card. I'm not talking about giving out a bonus. I'm saying recognize about, hey, we see that people are participating in safety initiatives and they are suggesting improvement, and make a reference to those things because they're important. The other portion that I think is important that some people like and some people don't is use technology. Utilize technology to gather employee feedback and suggestions, such as using online surveys, which I know sometimes can be silly, but other items that get people to engage. Provide a training. I'm a big training kind of person. Provide training and resources to help employees understand their role in safety and how to communicate their concerns effectively. But here's the catch on the training. You have to have your employees help you with the training. If not, it will not be good. Because they are masters of what is going on inside of that organization. Listen and act. Listen to your team members' feedback and take appropriate actions to address their concerns and suggestions. And then continuously review and evaluate the effectiveness of the programs and make necessary adjustments to ensure that the team's voice is heard and continue to be heard and it's valued. I know that's a lot of stuff today, but listen, I think that these things are super important as we are talking.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work. Sorry, I'm late. Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey. Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So, do you feel like you're missing out on what everyone is starting to do now, that live streaming thing, and you don't know where to start or what to do? I have the resource and the information to provide to you in regards on how you can stream onto 40 social media platforms all at one time. Yes, that's 40 social media platforms all at one time. All you'll need to do is go to safetyfm.com/1. That's safetyfm.com/1. That's ONE. So just in case, and you'll be able to start live streaming just like you're hearing people starting to do right now, up to 40 social media platforms.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Warning. Listening to other radio stations could cause testicle shrinkage.
I'm talking truth.
We are 45 minutes past the top of the hour. Oh, this is a little song here called The Wanderer. Or, matter of fact, I lied. It's called Controlled by the Wanderer. And the fun part is you're still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. Our numero uno of the Jay Allen in the Morning Show. As we are doing the stuff that we get to do. Boom. I'd like to thank the Wanderer for allowing us to play this here on Radio Big, on Safety FM, and of course, under the Rated R Safety Show. Always doing a little different music around here as we're getting to hang out. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. If you want to give it a little download, sir, that's for sure. Anyways, let's get into it real quick. Let's get into the move and the groove of the things that we need to talk about. And the most important thing that I'm going to tell you in my lifetime and at any point is about my friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress prevention and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and the best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, here's all you have to do. It's kind of a simple process as we are talking about it. So here is what needs to be done. You go to 988lifeline.org, or you can go to your phone and just call 988, or you can text the word TALK to 988. All of these things will get everything moving and grooving for you because, listen, life is not easy. Life is not easy. They are there to help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress prevention and crisis resources for you and your loved ones, and best practices for professional in the United States. Super important to remember that as we are talking. If you need help, give them a call, go to the website, text them a message before you do your next move. Your life matters. It really does. Think about it in that fashion as we are talking. Taking a look around at some news that is going on today, let's talk about this. A study suggests that putting our clocks ahead to daylight savings and leaving them there could help fight climate change. The findings published in the Environmental Research Letter shows on how researchers simulated the heating and cooling demands of the office building in 15 cities and analyzed the impact that daylight savings could have until the year 2050. They determined under the current climate conditions, daylight saving times reduces cooling managed by 5.9%, but decreases heating demand by 4.4%. But the environment warms. They found that daylight savings time could reduce the cooling demand up by 5.4%, while increasing the heating demand by 3.2%. In both cases, daylight saving results in a net decrease in energy used. They say that moving our clocks forward permanently by 1 hour could be a tool to help reduce carbon emissions and adapt to climate crisis. I have to tell you, I've been a big proponent of staying in daylight savings time the whole time. Because that's just me, because I hate this dark bullshit in the middle of the day. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's already pitch black. It's like, I don't like that. Who likes that? Anyways, but who's okay with help to adapt on going forward and work in the dark? 9 o'clock in the morning could happen, but, I couldn't lose any more sleep over it, that's for sure. I'm going to tell you a little secret, and this is just on my side. It's so dark when I head this direction to come into this joint anyways. I don't think I'd be able to tell the difference. I'm just saying, not picking, just saying, as we are talking. So let's talk about some other things that are going on this lovely Tuesday. And I don't know, do I need to talk about this? Let's talk about this. New York City will take the COVID vaccine optional for current and prospective city workers starting this week. Jennifer Pulsoni has more.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams says the city will no longer require the vaccine, with over 330,000 workers now fully vaccinated, or over 96% of city workers. It'll take effect this Friday. Visitors to city schools and DOE buildings will also no longer have to have the vaccine. Mayor Adams stresses the vaccine requirement has served its purpose. Meantime, the head of the police union, Pat Lynch, releasing a statement pleased with the decision on what he calls an unjust and illogical mandate, calling on the city to ensure members fired over the mandate be reinstated with back pay. Jennifer Pulsoni, NBC News Radio, New York.
Okay, thank you, Jennifer Pulsoni, for the information right there about what is going on inside of the world. So take a listen to this. Earlier last week, you heard that quarterback Tom Brady has retired. And now, I have to tell you this. A lot of people might not know this, but he already had another job lined up. So maybe we should talk about that. Let Brian Shook let you know.
Retirement from the NFL on February 1st and says his next move is as a broadcaster at Fox Sports. Fox did not disclose terms of Brady's deal, but the New York Post reports it's a 10-year contract worth $375 million, the most lucrative in sports broadcasting history. Brady played for the New England Patriots for nearly 20 years and the past 2 years with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm Brian Shook.
So the guy retires from football, goes into Fox Sports, says, I want $375, and we're going to go. And hey, 10 years, I'm sure he'll get the attention. That's for sure. We'll see how that ends up working out in the long run. That's going to be the fun part. Anyways, 51 minutes past the top of the hour. Let's get the magical voice in of John Smalls and let him tell you about what's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quotes were submitted by Holly. Oprah Winfrey said, "The biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams." And another great quote from Oprah Winfrey is, "If you look at what you have in life, you'll always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you'll never have enough." Thank you, Holly. Two great quotes. Let's start with the first. Life can be a great adventure. Make sure you're working towards something you enjoy. And the second quote, be thankful for what you do have rather than sad about the things you don't have. Counting your blessings and being thankful will make you much happier in life. So be sure to focus on the positive things. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. One of the biggest stressors on the physical body is chronic dysregulated blood sugar. Consistently eating foods that cause large spikes in blood sugar will eventually lead to metabolic dysfunction. So here are 4 tips to help keeping blood sugar stable. First, eat vegetables before every meal. Eating fiber before consuming carbs significantly decreases glucose response. Second, eat sweets and higher carb foods after consuming proteins and fats. Third, do not skip meals if it leads to overconsumption of foods, which causes big glucose spike. And finally, keep stress low and breathe deep. Our breath regulates our nervous system. When breathing quick and shallow, we signal the body's fight or flight response, which pulls sugar into the bloodstream and causes high blood sugar. For more information, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Maybe it's just too something or another. I don't know. Something to think about. Anyways, let's talk about some things real quick that are going on inside of this world for us to talk about. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. It seems to be stuff that people like to know about for some unknown reason, but that seems to be something. So back in, let's see, what do we want to do? Let's do 1984. The first astronaut flies untethered in space. Captain Bruce McCandless maneuvers freely outside of the Challenger shuttle, and he is in a controlled rocket pack that he designed himself. He safely re-entered the shuttle 90 minutes later. That had to be some fun times going, is this thing just going to fall down and we're going to go? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We're going to go. So fun times back in 1984 that happened on this date. So let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Stephen Smakis, 33. Isaiah Thomas, 34. Matthew Slatford, 35. Aston Kutcher, yeah, that guy. He turns 45 today. Steve Nash, 49. Robin Lively. Yes, Robin Lively. Yes, the sister of, just in case. She turns 51. Chris Rock turns 58. Garth Brooks turns 60. And James Spader, he turns 63 today. So there you go. That's some birthdays that are going on in a Dia de Hoy. So there you go. That's what's going on in today's news. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, well, of course I have some of those for you. It's Rose Day, even though it seems like it to be a week before Valentine's Day. National Fettuccine Alfredo Day. Independence Day, Grenada. Wave all of your fingers at your neighbor Day. Yeah. National Send a Card to a Friend Day. World Ballet Day. And Safer Internet Day. What do you do on Safer Internet Day? I'm kind of curious. Like, do you feel safer on Safer Internet Day because it's a safer day? I mean, I don't know. Seems like a lot of weird stuff there. What else? I mean, what else would you think? I don't know. Anyway, so tonight, if you do not know, it's the State of the Union address to tout legislative achievement. Take a listen to this.
Economic advisor Brian Deese says Biden will make a clear contrast between his approach and what's called trickle-down economics. Deese added the president will emphasize inflation has dropped for 6 months in a row, but more progress needs to be made. He said Americans are just beginning to see the positive impacts of Biden's policies. This comes as a new poll shows most Americans don't believe Biden has accomplished much since taking office. The Washington Post ABC News poll found 62% of Americans believe Biden has accomplished not very much or little or nothing during his first 2 years as president. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Okay, thank you, Mark Mayfield, for the information right there. Let's get into some other stuff before we get you out of here. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm. If you want to come and hang out over there, take a listen to some music and what's going on inside of the world of entertainment. Okay, so let's talk about it. Let's talk about a joke for today if you need one. The depressing thing about tennis is that no matter how good I get, I'll never be as good as the wall. There you go. If you need a phone starter for today, we'll try this. What expensive item can you buy a cheap version of thanks to similar quality? One surveyed include these responses: store brand bread, basic printer paper, bottled water, and Costco Kirtland brand. If you need a question for the water cooler, try this question. A survey found that 27% of us absolutely do not want this for Valentine's Day. What is it? Balloons. People don't want balloons for Valentine's Day. So I did not know that. I guess knowing's half the battle. Here you go. Here's some whack facts real quick for you. Your hair grows faster in the morning than any other time of the day. Being a good leader is 30% genetic. When you become really close to someone, you can hear their voice in your head when you read their text. The use of capital letters to denote shouting dates back to the 19th century. And Canada has maple syrup reserves to ensure global supply in case of emergency. So there you go, some stuff to think about. Anyways, thank you for taking a listen to what the hell we had going on the show today. It's always a fun time is when you and I get to hang out. There is no doubt about that. So let's make sure that we do talk about it. Anyways, with that being said, that's going to sum up our time together. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. The purpose of life is a life of purpose. Think about that. Think about this as well. Thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, because without you, it doesn't make any sense to do any of this. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.